welcome to my channel. So I was supposed to drop this review by Friday or Saturday, but I'm still on vacation mode, as you can tell by this beach hair, don't care messiness. And I was supposed to download the movie so I could watch it on the plane, but I don't know, Amazon Prime wasn't letting me download, so the plane to watch it on the plane didn't work. But I did get to 13 Lives, which is streaming out on Amazon Prime. It's a new movie directed by no other than one of my favorites, Ron Howard. And I think the last movie that he directed was Hillbilly Elegy in 2020. And that movie didn't get the best reviews. And honestly, I didn't care much for it. But you can say whatever you want about Ron Howard, he can direct the crap out of a movie, as he does on this one. 13 Lives is the most action-packed movie I've watched in a while without any action scenes. I always skip 100 with you guys when I tell you that action movies are not my favorites. You know, the whole loudness of it all, the fire bursts and explosions, it's just not for me. But here, I was at the edge of my seat, like holding my chest, so anxious about everything. It was so good. So 13 Lives tells the true story about the soccer team of young boys. There's 12 of them and their soccer coach. And they go into this underground cave in Thailand and they get stuck there due to heavy rain flooding. And then we have this rescue mission assembled by the government, Navy SEALs, and some of the best divers in the world. Our main divers are Rick, played by Viggo Mortensen, John, played by Colin Farrell, who, by the way, is doing the most with his career right now, isn't he? And Joel Edgerton. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right because I have the biggest crush on him. He plays Dr. Harris. And I don't want to forget Tom Bateman, who has a great scene at the end. He has an emotional scene after the mission is done. I don't want to spoil anything. All of them were great. And I also want to give a shout out to the Thai cast. Most of the movie is spoken in Thai, which I loved. Thailand, it's one of my favorite countries that I've ever been to. And besides the food, my favorite thing about Thailand is the people. They're one of the kindest, most gentle people I've ever met. This whole mission wasn't just the divers helping the boys, it was also the whole community that came through. On a little side note, this movie reminded me a lot of The Impossible. Do you remember that movie? Naomi Watts, Ian McGregor, Tom Holland, Spider-Man Tom Holland, itty bitty Tom Holland. He was so good in that movie. So I think it was because, first of all, you know, it was all happening in Thailand. The Impossible was about the tsunami that hit the Indian Ocean and it just devastated that whole area. Thousands of people died. It was horrible. Going back to the plot here of 13 Lives, I remember when this happened, seeing a headline about boys trapped in a cave, but I didn't look much into it and I didn't know much details about it, which made my movie experience even more exciting because I didn't know the outcome. So I advise you, if you don't know what happens to the boys, to the rescue team, don't Google it, because mid-movie, like I said, I was like biting my nails, so anxious about this whole thing that I was like, I just want to Google it. I want to Google it and find out what happened. Don't do it. I was also so surprised when they showed how the idea and the plan of how to get the boys out of the cave came up. But the three of them were talking about this plan. It's like, hey, we can and should do this. And the doctor is just like, no, are you crazy? This is unethical. I took an oath. I'm trying not to spoil anything. The boys were trapped for a total of 17 days, and it took the divers 9 days to find them. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Like the will of those boys to live and to survive? I like that in the movie they showed the divers' path, almost like a little like graphic from the cave's entrance to, you know, how long it took them to get to where the boys were. Like one of the dives was 7 hours and 30 minutes. Like imagine diving in that tight space for 7 hours and 30 minutes. There isn't a lot of character development here, but this is one of the times that I didn't mind it because the main character of the story is the mission itself. And how not just the divers were trying to rescue these boys, but the whole community came through. One example was the people that, they plant and grow the rice. They sacrificed their crops to help pump the water out of the cave. At the end of the movie, before the credits roll, in any true story, they show, oh, what happened to this person in honor of this person. And then the people that lost their crops, they receive government assistance. This movie is about 2.5 hours long. And you might say, when I talk about character development, like, well, there's plenty enough time in a movie this long to develop the characters. But my tip is, if you think the movie is running long or is dragging for you a bit, take a break. It's split in half because I did that unintentionally. I started watching at someone's house, which was really nice. They had like an amazing sound system. Have you seen like those, like the speakers come from the ceiling? I turned the TV on and then the sounds like coming from the heavens. I was like, where is this? Because sometimes you see the sound bar, but at that house, I was like, oh, I see. Then I had to leave and I finished watching the rest of the movie. I think I did 1 hour and then I watched the other hour and a half someplace else. Splitting the movie in half made me enjoy the experience a lot more because I stopped and then was thinking about what's going on and then I continue on. If you think the movie's too long, do it 2 parts. I was just thinking again about The Impossible because if you remember, if you've seen the movie, at the beginning of the movie, you see everything that's happening to Naomi Watts and Tom Holland waist up, everything that's above the water. And at the end of the movie, you see all the, the demolition, everything that's happening underwater. The same with 13 Lives. When the camera goes underwater, you hear the bubbling, you see everything. It's like so gnarly. And on that note, if you have a fear of small dark places and you easily claustrophobic, you might have a hard time watching this because like I said, it's a lot of underwater scenes and everything's dark and they're in that cave. And when I was doing research for this video, about the true story and all of that, I came across The Rescue. It's a documentary. I think it came out last year, maybe on National Geographic. But it's streaming now on Disney Plus, and it's interviews with the real people, a documentary called The Rescue. I'm so excited to watch it. These were my thoughts on 13 Lives. It's streaming now on Amazon Prime, and if you like this video, please make sure to hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and also hit the little bell, the notification button so you don't miss any future videos, and I'll see you next time.